Hey guys, this is Tony with Geek Designs. Today, back with another graphic design video. Today I want to talk to you about how much should a logo design cost in 2018. This is going to be a good topic for clients or designers. If you're a designer and you have a client that's questioning how much your logo should actually cost, I would send this video to them and let them learn a little bit how much a logo should cost, why it costs that much, and honestly, how much design costs overall and why it isn't a cheap investment as people think. Remember, design videos come out Monday, so get subscribed to that if you haven't already. So when it comes down to creative services, design, and other services like this, logo design, web design, people kind of take granted for how much it should cost. A lot of clients think that it should be a cheap product because you're not getting a physical good. Most people think you're not getting an immediate ROI or an investment back from it. Well, this is actually a lie. So when a logo design, you should get an investment back if done right. A logo actually should communicate with your customers. It should represent your brand, and it is going to represent your brand, so it better be something damn good. And it's going to be your first visual to your customers. Not you, not your salespeople, not your employees, your logo. So it needs to be something good that represents you and shows you well. Think of it as how you dress for an interview. You don't dress for an interview in t-shirts and jeans unless the job allows you to do that daily. You dress up nicely. You dress up in a suit and tie usually, khaki sometimes, depending on what the job is. So these services aren't actually cheap, but people think they are because of that, and there's these services outside on the web that make them cheap, but aren't delivering what a logo actually should deliver. Also, stick to the end. I got some great tips on how to price out a logo, and should you be using Fiverr for logo design? That's also really good for clients to know about. So let's go over some of the things that might affect a logo price. The type of client, the type of project or logo specifically, the length of the project, how many revisions a client might have, and how much research is actually going to go into a logo. Logos do require research. So what do I mean by type of client that you're going to work with? Well, I'm not going to say that graphic designers price fix depending on clients. That's not what I'm saying. So let's say that you're working with a mom and pop shop. You might be willing to give them a discount or a lower price to help a local shop in your town out. But say if Microsoft came in and wanted you to redesign their logo, well, that's going to require a lot more pieces. First of all, that's Microsoft. That's a huge company. Secondly, they're going to require an ID booklet or an ID manual, how to use their logo, when to use it, how not to use it, a booklet that describes everything about their logo. On top of that, you're going to need to make sure that that logo is used properly in many more spaces than a mom and pop shop. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. Now, I'm not saying that you should go through all these steps with a smaller client, but it's understandable if you don't. Some people will, a lot of people will actually. I will go and sit there and sit down with them and say, this is how you use the logo, this is where it's used best, this is why I have X amount of files in this folder for you. They all have specific purposes, when to use them, how to use them, and I think this is good practice for anyone. But keep in mind, if you're a mom and pop shop, you're not going to get the same price as Microsoft. You're going to get a different price. It might be a little bit smaller, but that's not bad. That's just market demand. Also, what kind of logo are you making? Now, if you're just making a simple type logo, even though type logos can be very labor intensive, they aren't as labor intensive if they have an icon, or if you're just making an icon, or if you're making, an esports logo that has a lot of graphics with it. You have to take into consideration how much overall labor is this work going to take. Now, a lot of designers will not charge by hourly. Some will, some do. It depends on the client. I will. If I know how the client works and we worked in the past, I can usually determine if I need to charge by hourly or if I need to charge a flat fee. That's another topic for another video, flat fee versus hourly. But understanding your client's needs and understanding what they need for you, for a type logo, an icon, or some sort of other type of logo, you can understand that they are going to need this amount of work and it's going to cost this much. That's a key thing to keep in mind, is how much work are you going to actually be putting into this logo. I know this video is getting a little bit long, but if you're a subscriber, stay to the end. There's some really good tips still in this video, so keep watching. Another thing to keep in mind is the length of the overall project. So if you're going to a designer and saying, hey, I want you to design a logo for an obscene small amount, let's say $40 just for this example, and it needs to be done in 5 months. First of all, why do you think that's okay to do? Secondly, if you went to some other company and asked that, they would turn you down. So I don't feel bad for designers that do that. But if they want a logo in $40 and you're okay with that price, and they want it in a couple weeks, if you can fit that in, fit it in. That's a quick enough turnaround time where that low of a cost isn't going to affect your bottom line. But if you're accepting a project that low in a longer time span, think about it. That doesn't make sense mathematically. That is almost less than $10 for a 5-month span per month. Now, if you're having a longer project and you say you do a logo for, I don't know, $800 to $1,200, and it's a 4-month project, you could break up the payments into months and make it worth your while. Then you'll be able to keep getting paid, keep having, to pay your bills, pay whatever else you have to pay, and still do your client work. So length of project is something that's key when it comes to how much a logo should cost. Another thing to keep in consideration is fonts, font use, if you have to purchase a font, or if you have to create a custom font. This is a huge endeavor if you have to create a font. It can take months to create a custom font. Now, a lot of bigger companies like Microsoft, FedEx, UPS, those are the big three that come to mind. I think Amazon also has a custom one. Apple does. I think they do, or at least they have a modification of Helvetica. These companies either take a pre-existing font, modify it so much that it becomes their own font, or build a font from the ground up. This is something that makes them stand out, but have similar aspects that make them relatable to past generations. So, I know Apple, I think, uses a modification of Helvetica, which Helvetica, if you know anything about it, it's a big popular font that a lot of designers like, and they've modified it to where people look at it and say, yeah, that reminds me of design, but it's Apple design, if that makes any sense. Now, before we go into the last part of how much a logo should actually cost and talk about money, I want to talk about one thing. I was debating if this should go in the beginning of the video or here. I'm putting it here. And that is Fiverr and freelance websites. These places make logos so cheap that it is hurting the design industry really bad, especially freelance designers just getting off the ground. A logo should not cost $5. A logo should not cost $30. A logo should not cost $40. $30 and $40, $30 to, I'd say, $80. This is a good price range if you're starting out. If you're in college, or if you're just starting to build your portfolio, this is a good price range for you to start. Get your feet wet, get your logos started, get building, and creating logos, But if you are an established designer and you are creating logos for that price, you are going to have to work a crap ton. You are going to have to produce so much work that you are just going to be doing that until you run out of steam. Logos do not cost $5, $10, $15. I've seen people on Twitter ask for $15 logos. I don't know where they got that price from, why they think it should cost that little. Actually, I do know why they cost that little. People see logo as a commodity item. It is not a commodity item. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of understanding your market, your company, your audience, and what is going to connect both of you together well and understandingly. So, a logo is not something that can just be turned and burned. Yes, it's a pretty graphic at the end of the day, and yes, technically it can be, but should it be? No. If you are going to someone and they say they can do a logo for $5 in 24 hours, you are hurting your business by doing that. That is stupid. I don't know why you would do that, So stop doing it. I see a lot of Fiverr website or people on Fiverr either A, straight ripping people off, B, stealing other people's work and claiming it as their own. I have seen my work on there and it being done. Or 3, giving people crappy work and not understanding the true client needs. They just want to give you a graphic and take your money. A logo designer wants to understand your business, understand your audience, understand where the middle ground is between them, and how to create a communication tool that will talk to your customers as you. That's all a logo really does. But a graphic doesn't do that. A logo does that. That's a difference you have to understand. Fiverr and these other websites are creating graphics. You need a logo designer. Someone who's going to understand you and your business as well as you do to create something that will represent you. So let's talk about pricing a logo. Now this is something where it gets a little complicated because everyone feels that their work is a little bit different. And I think that's the best way to explain how do you charge for a logo. What price are you comfortable starting out with? Now me, when I was starting out, I started out at $80 a logo. That's what I was comfortable telling a client that I wanted to be paid for a logo. Now I eventually got more comfortable asking for more. But that's where you need to start. You need to find that line where you're not stuttering, you're not stumbling, you're not giving your client any give on the price. That you say, this is my price, and this is my service that I'm giving you. And this is what you expect to get. It's a key thing that a lot of starting out graphic designers misunderstand. You're not just giving them the logo. You need to give the customer exactly what you're giving them. You're getting X amount of revisions. You're getting X amount of comps to start out with. You're getting X amount of color schemes. And if you want more, it's going to cost you this much. So, an example. My logos right now cost about $300. That's where I'm comfortable staying right now. It's going up as the years go on. So, a customer gets a $300 logo. They pay me $150 up front to start the project, and then I start. So once I start the project, I then look at I start designing. We go through all this marketing, we go through the mood boards, and then once I start designing, I give them 2 revisions, and then after that, each revision is $40. So you get 2 free revisions, after that it's $40. Why does this matter? Well, this matters because some clients, if you don't give them parameters on how many revisions they have and if they have to charge per revision, they will use this as a way to kind of keep testing the boundaries of what do they want to see, what do they like, what looks cool. So it gives them more meaning for their revisions. So if they see a $300 logo and then they have that amount in revisions, that means they just spent $600 on a logo. Example, not really happened before. But it gives them more meaning for their revisions. So I would say charge for your revisions, charge for your logo, and also always get half up front. If the project goes southward, you at least got half up front and you got something for your work. Also, it makes sure that you realize that this person's serious about their project because they're willing to put something up front to pay for it. I would say give a comp amount, so your initial comps, give that amount. If they want to see more comps, I would also give a charge on top of that. I would also leave a charge in there if there's fonts needed, like specific fonts like Helvetica or Futura, or any fonts you might need to buy. I would leave that in there, but not active until you need to actually get any. So say if they want Helvetica specifically, then you activate that charge and go get it, and they pay for it. These are some great ways of actually making sure that you're getting paid, but you're getting paid effectively. Your clients also making sure that they're getting the work that they actually want in a good, solid product at the end of the day. Well, guys, I hope this video helped you. I hope you learned something great here. I hope you learned how to price logo, why a logo costs that much, why it should cost more than $5 on Fiverr. So if you learned something good here, if you learned about logo price, subscribe, give a like. I don't know what really to say here. But if you didn't learn anything, if I didn't explain anything well, just get down those comments down below and I will help you out. Remember, design videos come out Mondays. Get subscribed for that if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.